Hello, everybody. Happy Friday, and welcome to episode 4 of the GVGCast. I'm your host, Ash Paulson, and I am joined today by my wonderful friends and GVG co-founders, Derek Bittner and Steve Bowling. And we're here to kick back, chat about some gaming news, answer some Patron topics, and just generally hang out with all of you fine folks. Woo. Derek and Steve, how's it going, man? How's your week been? How you guys hanging in there?
Oh,
it's been a blur.
Yeah, it's been a week, right?
It has been a week. Yeah. So I told you guys this, but like Wednesday night, I had a friend who got in 2 car accidents in 24 hours.
Right.
And the poor thing ended up in the emergency room at like 11 p.m., which of course, and for those of you, obviously, this is Friday now, so I can talk about this. I was preparing our Kirby preview and
yes.
I was in the middle of doing that, but when someone calls me and says they're in the ER and they're alone and they need a friend, I'm not going to be like, well, hold on, I'm editing a YouTube thingy. So
right,
I got up and I threw my coat on and I dashed to the hospital, and I thought I'd be there like 2 hours. I was like, I'll come back home 1, 2 a.m. I'll finish what I was doing. I'll make sure everything's set. And unfortunately, my friend's family didn't show up till like 8 a.m. the following morning.
My God, why did it take so long?
So I was in the, and I also didn't think that they'd be in the hospital that long, because fortunately for my friend, like, they weren't super banged up. Like, they were definitely in some pain, uncomfortable, but like, they're going to be fine. Like, it's, there were no outward signs of injury, but they were really just wanting to like rule out concussions and stuff like that. And if you don't know, if you've never been concussed, 1, congratulations. 2, you are not supposed to sleep if you're suspected to have a concussion, because you can literally pass away in your sleep from a concussion. Me being the friend that I am was trying to entertain them the whole time. I was like, hey, let's play a game. Hey, let's talk, and so I didn't sleep either. I around 4 a.m. around there, my phone died, and I wasn't playing on my phone or looking at my phone. So Derek and Ash are like trying to get a hold of me, telling me like, hey, the Kirby preview never finished uploading. Where are you? And I finally got, I was asleep. I was asleep in a chair in a hospital. And so I woke up around like, I want to say 7 a.m. my time, which is an hour after Kirby previews were supposed to go live, and I was like, oh God. And so
I was already streaming the demo.
Yeah, Derek is already streaming the demo.
That thing was so weird.
And the IT person I am, I had access to my editing computer from my phone, so I literally finished the upload from my phone in a hospital. Then I barely, like, I was in and out of sleep because I was still waiting for my friend's parents to show up at this point. And finally, like, it happened, and I saw the little notification. It's like, oh, here's your preview. And I was like, better late than never, and fell asleep.
Yeah.
I mean,
I hope she's gonna be okay. It sounds like she will be. But
yeah,
I hope
she's totally fine. She was at that point.
Good.
She was more, definitely, a little worse for wear, a little banged up, but she's expected to make a full recovery. Nothing permanent, nothing lasting. I mean, the only, obviously, car is probably not in great shape, but physically she's fine, and that made me happy, and obviously, what are friends for if not to keep you from passing out from a concussion? I don't know.
Right. Yeah. By the way, sorry, Derek, really quickly, I just want to shout out Sakara D and send them some good vibes, because their dad might be getting a heart transplant this weekend.
Oh, geez.
Based on our live audience chat. So sending you all the good, you and your father, all the good vibes, Sakara D. Please let us know how it goes, and we are hoping for the best for him. So
absolutely. Just
wanted to let you know that. So go ahead, Derek. Didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just saying, speaking of car crashes, my dad last year, this was last year, but it's still just it's incredible to me. So last year, my dad's, oh boy, here's some family tree for you. My dad's girlfriend's son got into a car accident.
Okay. Oh no.
And it was like, it's to the point where we don't know how he survived with only getting like a banged up knee. Because let me send you this, put the picture in live audience chat.
Oh man.
About what it actually looked like. Let me see if it pops up here. Yeah, there it is. Look at that. It was literally ripped in half.
And only an injured knee?
Busted up knee and, concussion and all that.
How do you get out of that? Talk about luck.
How do you?
I have
Yeah.
no idea.
Jeez.
They're
Well,
alive, well, walking around, all that. But yeah,
jeez.
That is
Well,
amazing.
that is incredible. I'm so happy they were okay.
Mhm.
On my end, I don't really have a car accident story to tell, which is probably a good thing.
That's a
But
good thing.
yeah, but going back to what Steve was talking about previews, we had our Kirby preview this week, and I made my first YouTube short this week. We decided to try something
Yeah.
new for our indie game coverage, so I did a preview of Sea of Stars as a YouTube short, and based on the comments, it seems like you guys like it, so that's good. I'm super happy to hear that. But basically, if you don't know what this game is, it's a love letter to Chrono Trigger. If you love Chrono Trigger, Super Mario RPG, Illusion of Gaia, all those games from the 16-bit golden era of JRPGs, you got to check out Sea of Stars. So check out the short if you'd like, but that was one of the things I did this week. And it was an interesting experience learning how to make a YouTube short and just get a handle on that. So that was pretty cool. And well, before we get too much further into the episode, we do, of course, have a couple of sponsors for today's episode. But the first one is our good friend, The Game Orb. And The Game Orb is a YouTube channel that brings commentary and gameplay footage from the Nintendo Switch and Xbox Series X gaming systems. While games like Sonic Colors Ultimate and Splatoon 2 can be seen on the channel, The Game Orb will have a new Mario Party Superstars video every weekday this month, which will include a match with me, Steve, and a friend of his, as well as videos showing all 5 boards with 30 turns each, and ranking all the minigames and groups of which game they originated from. So be sure to subscribe to The Game Orb at the link in the description, and in the YouTube chat, which I'm going to be doing that right now, as always. And as you know, thank you so much, Game Orb, and please, everyone in our audience, show the Game Orb some love by subscribing to his channel.
Absolutely should.
And I just pinned it to the top of the chat, so there you go.
I have to call this out real quick. I'm sorry, because it's being commented on. I was making a face because I read our most recent super chat, which is like a real. Can I just read this one out of order real quick?
Please,
it speaks to my heart, and there's a story attached, I promise. But Meerpat with $30, thank you so much, says,
wow.
Hey, y'all, almost never get to watch these live due to work. I'm off tonight, though, and 3 edibles deep. LOL, wishing y'all good luck and good vibes. Now, I am not like a master of my destiny when it comes to edibles or any kind of like non-alcohol based inebriation. Let's just put it that way. But I have at one point eaten 3 edibles, holy hell, is that a ride? That is my grandma, when she passed away a few years ago, my mom was in like a rare kind of mood, and she was like, I want to get messed up bad. And she was like, my mom died. I need this. Don't fucking judge me. Here's some money. Go buy weed. And I was like, what? I get in the car.
Hi, Mom, indeed.
Yeah, hi, Mom. Yeah. And so
awesome.
I get in the car, and me and my brother go down, and we get just like, neither my brother nor I really know what we're doing. And so I'm like, I would like some marijuana, please. And
one marijuana,
and
please.
I was like,
I would like some marijuana.
And they're like, and I was like, I don't know what, like some gummy bears or some shit like that. And so they give us like edibles and some, and like a tea. I didn't even know you could get weed tea, but weed tea is a thing. And my mom drinks the tea. My dad is super angry that we're doing this, by the way. And my brother and I each have 1 gummy, because I was like, I don't know my limits with this stuff. And we have the rest of them on the bed. There's like 4 more. And my, at the time, 8-year-old niece comes in the room, and she sees candy on the bed. She's like, oh, you guys have candy. And so me and my brother both grab them and eat them. We're like, and I was like, we're all done. We don't have any more candy. And the next 19 years, or as I was told, 40 minutes, felt like an eternity. Like, we watched Futurama, and my brother and I were talking through it. And there's a video of us like talking through it, and it's unintelligible bullshit. Like, I mean, I don't even mean like we're saying dumb things. We're not actually forming words, but I swear to God, to both of us, we were having a conversation that we both understood. And I finished the Futurama movie. I was like, man, that was a really good movie. And then the Netflix screen comes on, and I realize we watched one 20-minute episode over what felt like 2.5 hours.
Oh my
I love
God.
I'm so glad though that that's all that happens, because sometimes if you have too much of an edible, you're in for a bad time.
Oh,
as
no,
as Sand would say.
That was Amy. She
Yeah.
told me the story one time, because that girl cannot handle, she can't handle Tylenol. A sip of alcohol will get her tipsy. She is not meant to take on to things. So I can't remember if she accidentally ate one or had one, but she had one bite. She was on a bad trip from what she's telling me, just seeing things, like she was having hallucinations.
Wow.
To that point.
Man. Well,
yeah,
Steve,
Amy's
it's funny.
probably
It sounds like
that's all right.
It sounds like your mom and mine
never
are
had
somewhat
edibles.
similar, because I definitely can say that I have gotten high with my own mom, and we have a great time doing that, and she's just totally chill about stuff like that.
Oh my God.
I have not done anything like that in almost 20 years.
I was like, anticipation.
Like,
I was like, how long, Derek?
4 hours.
Basically since college.
I just want like Nate Dogg to burst through Derek's door in like a cloud of smoke and be like, "You coming back?" Derek's like, "Fuck yeah," just leaves.
I do want to address a question really quick in our YouTube chat from GameFan6219, who asks, what happened to daily topic streams with guests? And what happened was basically we decided to sunset Today's News Tonight. That's the show that you're talking about, for a while, because it was kind of holding the channel back, and it was holding us back in terms of our production pipeline. And so instead of doing a 3 days a week daily topic news show, we're doing this show 1 day a week and just talking about the news that we want. We do have plans to bring back TNT eventually in a different form, but it was just holding us back too much, and we didn't have time for other kinds of content, which you guys all wanted. So that's what it is, but we appreciate the question and just wanted to make sure you knew what was going on there.
I should also emphasize, Amy is a very good girl.
Yeah.
Oh, of course she is.
I got a. She's not happy with me.
Oh no! I mean, you can be a good girl and still get high. Don't worry.
You are pure of heart. You're one of the.
She doesn't like sharing that with random people. I just put it out there for everybody. So.
Hey, my mom's a good girl and she gets high, so it's all good.
I've literally partied at E3. And Amy was like the one person who was like the level-headed one among all of us. I've never seen her wasted, and I've seen everybody else in the history of E3 wasted. So Amy is very, very much a straight shooter.
Yes,
I can confirm.
She is amazing too. She made me a bento box today. She's been learning how to do that.
Ooh,
like an honest to God.
Hey, I'm wearing Japanese writing on my shirt. Can she make me a bento box? I'm starving.
Right.
She might. She might.
I'll come out to visit you for that. If I can go to Ash for Korean barbecue, I can come to Derek's house with bento boxes.
Of course. And we got to do that again sometime, Steve. Get Korean barbecue again, hang out. That was so fun.
Yes.
Well, we do have quite a few super chats, so let's go ahead and dig into a few of those. I won't read them all out right now, but I will get to the rest of them throughout the show, so don't worry. First up is Synchro with $4.99. Thank you very much. Saying, just enjoying GVG with chicken and waffles with bread pudding for dessert. They come from my favorite chicken place, Mother Cluckers, which is such a good name.
That is a good name.
Synchro
I had a
sounds amazing.
Good dinner, but that's still, I haven't had chicken and waffles in forever.
Oh, yeah. I had some disappointing chicken and waffles when my dad was in town. But, I mean, bad chicken and waffles is still better than most things.
Right. But
my dad made a really good chicken gravy to go on top of waffles, and we put. Do you guys put syrup?
Oh yeah,
yeah. I was gonna say you should.
Of course,
so good. Excellent.
Does anyone not put syrup? I mean, I feel like you just.
I don't know.
That's kind of part of it, right?
I don't know. It's been a long time, and I don't know how other people do these stupid things.
Derek got so healthy, he forgot how people eat.
I do. Yeah.
Right.
His body is a temple.
I do have a related story to this, Synchro Lord, but I have to get a hold of a picture first, so I'm going to circle back to that. But it's regarding a chicken place near where my parents live that has the most unfortunate logo you could ever imagine.
Oh, you've shown that
before. I'll get back to that. Yeah, I'll get back to that. Next up, we have Jaden Buck with $5 with the next Crazy Question Friday. So we've got Crazy Question number 30. Has anybody ever said something that made you shoot milk out your nose? If so, what?
Thankfully
that
not,
is-
because that sounds awful.
yeah, that sounds like it would be terrible. I'm happy to say that no, that has never happened.
What?
And yeah, it's a very specific question.
I've never shot milk out of my nose, but somebody did make me laugh once while drinking a soda, and that is painful as all hell.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
would definitely be worse. Actually,
Yeah.
did I
What-
get one? That's something that said coming with a soda. I feel like that might have happened, but I do not know the joke.
Yeah, see, I can't remember the joke.
Okay.
All I can remember is the blinding, searing pain of soda shooting through my sinuses.
Yeah.
So on that note, Steve, you guys both know. I'm sure everyone knows that when you drink anything and it goes down the wrong pipe, like
Ugh.
you cough and it's awful, right?
Mhm.
So one night in my college days, I was partying with some friends, and we had because we were in college, poor college students, we had the cheapest vodka imaginable. It was like in a plastic bottle. I think it was like Popov or something. It was less than $10 for a big bottle. Tasted like battery acid. I wasn't prepared for it because I'd never had worse vodka in my life, and it went down the wrong pipe.
Oh,
And it was one of the worst experiences of my life. It was awful. Awful. Imagine just how that would feel.
I mean-
it's as bad as you think.
At least it wasn't whiskey, because
That's true.
it already tastes
That's
like
true.
burning. So,
Yeah.
oof.
I do not
Um,
mess with potato sweat anymore. Vodka is, ooh.
Yeah. Okay, so I have that picture I was talking about handy. So, Sinker Lord, you're talking about your favorite chicken place, Mother Cluckers. So there is a place near where my parents live that apparently is great. It's really good reviews, but it has maybe one of the worst design logos I've ever seen. I'm posting it in live audience chat right now. It's called Cuckoo Rooster, but
Wow.
the ooh part doesn't really show up that well. And
Welcome
it just
to
kind of
Cuck
looks like
Maybe
Cuck
they assumed
Rooster.
that the rooster would make people understand, but no. I'm
It's
sorry.
so bad.
We have.
I'm like,
I've seen so many people that say that people need to run companies through 15-year-olds or people with the minds of 15-year-olds to see if like the
Right.
logos or anything like that come up with something like, not so bad.
yeah. And I'm like, did nobody involved in this process? Nobody stopped to think, hey guys, you know what? This kind of just looks like cuck and not cuckoo or cuckoo, but apparently not. And it is what it is, I guess.
Love this. They should just lean into it.
It's so good, right?
Like,
They totally should.
What's that?
How would they lean into it, Steve? Would you go and watch other people eat chicken?
I mean, the wait staff, yeah, why not? Like, may I watch you eat, sir?
Oh my god.
Man. It's so weird.
Or it could be
All
like
right,
the reverse of one of those restaurants where the staff is disrespectful to you. Like the whole thing is you can diss
like
the
Dick's.
staff. Yeah.
Or
Not
Dick's
Dick's.
or something. No, not Dick's. That's the burger place. But there's a place in Vegas that I know what you're talking about, and the whole thing is like they're rude to you, and that's part of the appeal.
Yeah. Just
I never
Oh
got the
yeah.
appeal.
I have heard of
let the
that.
I think there's
patrons
one in
be
San
rude to
Diego
you.
as well. Yeah. Okay, well, moving on. We have 3 separate super chats from Stephen Welton. Thank you so much. All in a row here. The first one is $20. Thank you so much for your generosity, Stephen, saying, hey, GVG crew, just a couple of questions. Is Steve's mom really part of the Patreon, and what made you guys leave Game Explain? And Derek, how did you and Amy meet and became what both of you are today?
Voltron?
So I'll just go ahead and answer the middle question really quickly. We just wanted more creative control. We wanted to do our own thing. We didn't want to work for someone else anymore. We wanted to work for ourselves and do our own thing and have creative control. And that's why we left to do what we're doing here at Good Vibes Gaming. And I'll let you guys take the other questions.
So my mom really is part of the Patreon. When I say hi, mom, I am saying hi to my mom. So when you hear
Right.
Rosa Pardo Bowling, that is actually the Rosa Pardo Bowling that created this. I'm very sorry about that. But it's also why when I'm doing a bathtub stream instead of hi, mom, I say I'm sorry, mom. But yeah, that's my actual mom. In fact, I think she posted, if you really follow my tweets, she occasionally will poke her head out of the abyss to say hi on my Twitter. But yeah, that's definitely my mom. She has an EP Squad shirt. She has a mug. I found out our mugs were dishwasher safe by going to my mom's house. But
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
That's nice.
And what about you and Amy, Derek?
We met at the first E3. The first E3 open to the public. She was
I was
going.
there.
Yeah, she was going, and basically Andre wasn't going to be going to the PlayStation experience, the PlayStation media thing. So I knew she was going, and I was aware of her through Twitter. We were just sort of loose friends. I don't even know, friends, acquaintances, I guess, at that point. But I knew she was going, and I had this extra band, so I'm like, well, hey, meet me here, and I'll give you the band. You can enjoy the PlayStation thing. It has free food. You get to see the thing. It's sort of that insider experience you don't get otherwise as going to E3. Otherwise, you're just waiting in line for demos the entire time as a non-media goer.
That is true.
But we just ended up hitting it off and talking and not really stopped talking. So that's how, it just kind of went on from there. She still has she still has the picture she took of all of us like hanging out together.
Nice.
We got that picture of all of us together at the PlayStation event.
That was such a good
you
event.
guys met there and were like, hey, would you like to parent a child for the next 18 to 25 years?
Well, we didn't get to that
I wasn't
moment right away, that's for sure.
Yeah. Had to wait for the Sonic movie for that.
It helped that we were also relatively close to each other as far as where we live. Not the closest.
Right.
That was definitely long distance for a while, but yeah.
Well, as I mentioned, Stephen Welton also followed up here with 2 more super chats. The first one for $9.99 or $10. Thank you so much. Saying, apologies if I asked a question you weren't comfortable answering, Derek. Just I remember during the Game Explain days, you two were just friends and everything moved so fast between you two from there. No, I knew you were cool talking about that. And then also one more with $4.99 saying, bit of a typo there. What I meant was I remember during the Game Explain days, you two were just friends. Anyway, enjoy my generosity with these super chats. Thank you so much, Stephen. Hope you enjoyed the answers. And I'm going to read out one more super chat for now because it serves as a perfect segue into some of the news we're going to talk about today. So $5 from RecBCQ. Thank you so much. Saying they said Gen 9 wouldn't happen. It was too early. They said I was crazy, but I proved them wrong. Then got 2 other predictions wrong, lol. Favorite starter. Well, then that's a perfect segue. Thank you for your generosity, RecBCQ. And one of the news stories we're, of course, going to talk about today that happened over the last week is Generation 9 of Pokemon has been announced sooner than I think we all thought. Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet are both coming in late 2022. It's going to be compatible with Pokemon Home to transfer at least some Pokemon from other regions. And as for your question, Sprigatito is objectively the best Gen 9 starter. That's why I put it on the thumb. I just did. I was like, I'm making the thumb. I'm putting Sprigatito on there because that is the best Gen 9 starter, baby.
I put all 3 in the analysis. I could have chosen the best being Quaxley, but right. I did all.
This is why we're friends, because it's Fuecoco for life, and I don't want to hear anything else.
Nice.
You're even
I like them all, to be fair.
Fuecoco is so close. It's so close.
I do like them all. I think Quaxley is my second favorite. They're all good. There's not one that I dislike.
This is a good lineup.
It really is. I tweeted about Fuecoco like right after we did the reveal, or they did the reveal, and I think I said something like he looks like he'd eat all the food in your fridge, which I stand by.
He does.
He'd eat me out of house and home, and I would love him for it.
Depending on his personality, he might just be like Fire Totodile and how happy he looks, in the Totodile in the anime.
I would love for once for the Fire Starter not to look super tough by its final evolution. Like, I still want like a chonky happy boy at the end. I know I won't get it. I know I won't. But I just want a non-aggressive looking.
I prefer
final
that
evolution.
Too.
I some people don't agree with me. I put this in there in the analysis, but we're 8 generations in, and you had to fudge a few of them, but they seem to have fit the whole idea of the Chinese zodiac for the fire starters since the beginning. So I do think he's going to be a fire snake.
I could see that. With that. And I admit I'm a little biased. I've always been more of a water type fan, so oftentimes I'll go with the water type starter, but I can't get over those eyes, those big, adorable eyes on Sprigatito. I go for the cuter, like the really cute, adorable Pokemon, and I just can't get over those eyes, man.
So did you choose Litten?
No, I didn't, because the other part of that is I'm not really into fire types as much. I've always been more of a water type guy, so I
always loved fire types. I would love it. I just have to put this out there. It's not going to happen, but this is just my stupid brain. I would love it if you selected Fuecoco if his final evolution was just Dinral from Breath of the Wild and Link showed up. Never going to happen,
Nice.
but I'm just saying. I want Nintendo to just go all in on something crazy stupid.
Well, I love how a lot of people say that Crocomire is Fuecoco's father.
Nice.
Oh, that's so good. Jacomon in our live audience chat says, not sure if you've noticed the Sprigatito eye error on the official artwork, and I have not, actually.
When you flip it, I believe.
Oh, is it when you flip it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't...
Because...
Yeah. It is what it is.
I'm not sure. But I just love that cute little critter. And Gen 9 in general is looking pretty interesting. They've been hinted that it's going to be open world-ish, I guess.
No, it's not ish. They're saying open world.
Straight up open world.
Welcome.
Okay, I didn't want to go all the way with it.
Just welcome to the open world of Pokemon, right?
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
it's not like Legends where it's like segmented. No, this is the entire world is open.
I'm so into that.
I've loved seeing Game Freak kind of iterate on their tech through these last 3 Pokemon games. Like Sword and Shield had like the wild area, which was like the baby step into like an open world concept. And then you have kind of the segmented open world concept with Arceus. And now you get this. I'm like, please continue to develop your engine. Like it's working. It is doing great. Like keep it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
looking really interesting. The new region is based on Spain, hence our title for today's episode. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited. This is like Pokemon Legends or Arceus. This is the most excited I've been about new Pokemon games in a long time.
I have relatives in Spain, and my mom actually spent some time there as a young girl. And I like called my mom and I was like, "Did you see?" And she's like, "No, of course not." And I was like, "The new Pokemon game in Spain," and now she wants to play it just because. I even showed her. I showed her the trailers, and I was like, "You could see some stuff that you would probably recognize." And she's like, "Oh yeah, I know that." And I was like, "You should watch Derek's analysis and tell us if it's right." But,
I did follow a Spaniard to try to get my details right because I don't know Spain at all. I had to.
I've only been once.
Do my best. Like it wasn't quite like. I mean, I had to do research for France and Hawaii and the UK as well. But doing that analysis did take me back to the days of like, okay, it's our first trailer, not much Pokemon to look at. I'm not going to do the whole thing of this gen is represented. This gen is represented. No, there's no need to do that anymore. It was important in Gen 6 because, we just come off a generation where it was only new Pokemon. And that obviously wasn't the case, but getting, that first analysis where you get to see like what it's more about the location. It's fun.
Yeah.
Right. Well, speaking of things we got from Nintendo, I mean, this is the Pokemon company technically, but it's Nintendo still. Speaking of things we got from Nintendo this week, Kirby and the Forgotten Land got a demo. And we've now all gotten to play it.
Kind of.
And
well,
you guys, this game is delightful.
Is it?
So, I mean, that's what you were saying to me during the preview. So
yes. I will say I have still only just seen it, basically.
Oh, okay. I thought we'd all played it by now. My bad.
No, I played the beginning of it, but just, life and work got in the way, and I didn't get to finish the demo yet. But I have played a little bit, and I will say it lives up to what I saw.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ash, when you played the demo, did you go back into it after you beat the 3 levels?
I did.
Okay, so you tried out the
I wanted to try all the evolved copy abilities. So, I tried Ice, Sword, and Cutter all evolved.
But did any of you make Waddle Dee ride on the back of the car?
I didn't because I haven't been able to play with Amy yet. But that sounds adorable. I still want to see that. However, my chat during my stream informed me that if you push the D-pad, Kirby has emotes.
What?
Oh, really?
They didn't show
Kirby
that when I saw
awesome.
It. Yeah, up on the D-pad is like it's hi, and he'll lay down he'll sit down on the thing. And
that's so interesting.
Each one of his like mouthful modes, well, most of them, like Dome mode doesn't have it, but the cone and the car have their own emotes.
How
only
do we
one,
not
but
have
still
a Kirby Pro controller yet? Like,
especially
with mouthful mode,
I would buy that in a second. Yeah. So it's funny. I actually did try the D-pad, but it must have been during one of the mouthful modes that doesn't have emotes because nothing happened for me. So I had no idea. I didn't think to try the D-pad during just regular Kirby form. But man, I mean, you guys all know Kirby's my favorite Nintendo character. I just love that little pink puffball God Slayer, and this game, you guys. I'm so excited. It is everything that I hoped it would be from the demo, at least.
Yeah, it feels so good to play. It's it obviously has limitations. Stuff in the background are very
animation. Is like it's like
for sure.
5 or 10 frames per second. Like it's real bad.
It's bad in both that and
like
Pokemon Legends.
Yeah, it's like that. It is in Pokemon Legends, but it doesn't matter. It feels like because it plays so well, and I don't know. I love the missions. You were telling me about the missions, Steven. They're so addictive.
Yeah, the missions are cool.
I do everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I did every mission. I just basically played the demo as long as I could, and I think my wife and I are going to go back to it this weekend and play co-op because she's also a big Kirby fan. We call him our baby, and so we're gonna go back and play the Forgotten Land demo together because she's also pretty excited.
I also have to say I never changed Nintendo. I love that the demo is not like time limited or whatever. You just play through it as much or as little as you like, and it doesn't go away. It doesn't blow up and disappear off your Switch. Square Enix, I'm talking to you. And it you can just experience it. Like demos shouldn't be something that you can just do whenever you want. And I like that Nintendo is very old school in that regard.
I also did some experimentation, so it still takes a while to die in wild mode. Because I was trying to kill myself to see what happens when you die, and you lose 100 star coins. Yeah,
I know, right?
What is the afterlife like? You'll lose 100 star coins. So
that's it. So it's kind of like Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, it's Mario Odyssey method.
Okay, interesting.
So
cool.
That's not bad at all. It still took you a while to die, but it's
right.
Fine.
But I also don't come to Kirby games for the difficulty. I come for the Kirbiness of it all, right?
That boss is so easy.
Yeah.
Did you go in with ice, Ash?
I did. And I immediately dropped it and then just used regular inhale attacks.
No, you missed it. You got to when you play a game with Basola, you got to try it because you can freeze him over. He'll freeze completely and then have a massive amount of damage done to him because he's frozen over. He'll break free the ice and have a massive amount of damage done to him.
Wow.
Not only that, but your defense when in ice, completely impervious. I just hit that button when he does a shockwave, dot move, just push back a little and go back in, start beating on some more. I took no damage during that fight.
Wow.
I'll have to try that.
Kirby's the most powerful thing in the universe, but this just shows it.
Plus, I do love that he still has his Smash-esque dodge roll that in a 3D context. If you hold shield or block and tap in a direction, he'll do like a little dodge roll in that direction. And I was wondering if they would keep that, and they kept it.
Not with all of the abilities, but some of them.
Yeah. I only tried it with just standard Kirby, but yeah. Steve, I want to go back to something you said a couple of minutes ago. You were praising Nintendo for the way they handled the Kirby demo, and I agree. But you said never change, and there are sometimes I do wish they would change because, as we know, Nintendo giveth and Nintendo taketh away. And one of the things I wanted to mention, and this hurts my heart, is that Smash is not going to be Evo this year because of Nintendo.
I didn't realize that's what you were going to switch to. I thought you were going to talk about the way they handled demos and embargoes.
Oh, no, I could have. But no.
Completely negated even if Steve had managed to get it up on time, it wouldn't have mattered. That's the exact time the demo was released, and they put out a new overview trailer.
Yeah, that was so weird.
The preview was rendered kind of pointless.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, but I figured maybe that's a little bit too inside baseball. But yeah, that whole thing, it completely invalidated the point of our preview.
I mean, it's not just us; they did it to everybody.
Yeah, they did it to everybody.
It's not like it was a FU just to GVG, but
definitely.
To be fair, we do enjoy a good working relationship with Nintendo, but we'd love it if that working relationship included early access to stuff.
Someday. Speaking of early access, I was gonna time. And speaking of early access, I was meant to review Chocobo GP, but Square we didn't get a review copy, unfortunately. So I'm still gonna buy it. We're gonna play it on our EP squad stream this weekend, but shame.
I need to pick that up.
But going back to what I mentioned earlier, Steve and I both, we love fighting games. Steve, I don't know if you've ever been to Evo, but I love going to Evo. I love watching competitive fighting games, including competitive Smash. And Evo mentioned earlier this week that they're going to announce their game lineup for Evo 2022 on March 8th. But just to, I guess, get it out in front and rip the Band-Aid off immediately, they said, since 2007, we've seen We want to let you know in advance that Super Smash Bros. Will not be making a return appearance. Since 2007, we've seen historic Super Smash Bros. Moments created at EVO's events. We are saddened that Nintendo has chosen not to continue that legacy with us this year. In the future, we hope to once again celebrate the Smash community alongside them. Damn it! I'm still going. I still love watching high-level fighting games of all types. But I really was looking forward to seeing Smash Ultimate's full roster on the world stage at EVO and seeing who takes the crown. And Nintendo, why you do this? Why you be like this?
I mean,
it is owned by
fair,
Sony now, so that might be part of it.
I don't think it's necessarily all of it either, though. So if you remember, Nintendo announced that they were partnering with Panda Global to do
Panda
Smash
Global.
tournaments.
They're doing their own tournaments.
And I bet that there was an exclusivity clause in there. Like, hey, if we're going to pay money to host Smash tournaments, then we want to be the only game in town aside from Nintendo doing them.
Yeah.
That's
kind of what I figured it was.
Right.
Just
and of course, they're not going to use their announcement to say also Smash isn't at EVO, right? I bet that EVO's tournament organizers have been sitting on this information for months and probably trying to back channel with Nintendo to figure out a way that they could still do it without invalidating whatever deal Nintendo struck with Panda Global. That being said, it is something that if you're a Nintendo executive, do you want one of your biggest franchises to make money for one of your biggest competitors?
That's also true.
When you just put it into black and white, you're like, Sony will make money off of Smash. And as a Nintendo business person, I feel like this is counterproductive.
Right.
Whereas I'm sure whatever deal they struck with Panda Global, it's Nintendo is lining Nintendo's pockets, or Panda is lining Nintendo's pockets. So however that works out. But, I do agree that there is a level of prestige with EVO that isn't present for other tournament organizers. Whether that's fair or not is up for debate, but it is kind of the premier fighting game event that's out there. Everybody goes to EVO.
Yeah.
I've followed, I don't really follow the Smash competitive scene, but, I'm a fan of Street Fighter. That's no secret. Tekken. I enjoy older King of Fighters is a franchise that I really enjoy. Speaking of which, KOF 15 is pretty good. I like it.
Nice. It's cool.
But I kind of expect to see fighting games, but I think that Smash occupies a weird space that even as I would consider myself like a fighting game aficionado, a longtime fan of the genre, I've never tuned into EVO for Smash. I've never watched Smash at EVO, but again, I'm a very casual Smash fan. So for me, it's always been.
Whereas I'm a super hardcore one.
Yeah. So I do think it's kind
perspective.
Of a blow to the Smash fan base, but at the same time, I also think the Smash fan base kind of tends to overreact to stuff like this.
That's also fair. Yeah.
I feel it's not like Nintendo is saying we're not going to do any tournaments we don't have control over. They're saying this specific one that is owned by PlayStation now, we will not be participating in. But we've also announced a separate tournament series over here that is officially sanctioned. So I feel like Nintendo, in a weird way, is just keeping their level of support for competitive Smash the same, just moving, kind of shuffling the deck a bit.
Well, and to be fair, as some people in our live audience chat are pointing out, the Smash competitive community has had a squicky past, let's say,
that's a nice way of saying it.
A very squicky past, without going into the real grossness of it. And of course, not everyone in the community is like that. Clearly not. But I can also see why Nintendo might want to distance themselves from EVO specifically, because EVO also, even though it's now under new ownership, it is under new ownership because of its own squicky past. And, so I think, I agree with you, Steve. I think it's probably a mix of things, the Sony bit, the Panda bit, and maybe EVO's own past. It's just, I exist somewhere in the middle because, yes, I am a hardcore Smash fan, but I also just love fighting games. So I'm still going to go, and I'm still going to watch Street Fighter, KOF, whatever other games they have there, because I love fighting games. But, Smash is special, and to me, I'm going to miss it. But it is what it is, and at least, as we've been saying, the Panda Global tournament circuit is still happening. So it is not a complete loss, as we've been saying. I should probably read out a few more super chats because we have a lot of them. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, super generous.
Okay, so first we have two super chats from Sonic and Mega Man 531 with the classic matchup super chats. First one is Crash Bandicoot versus Rayman. You choose. I don't really have strong feelings about this, but I Rayman? I don't like Crash. He annoys me. I'm going to say Rayman.
I'm going to say Rayman because how far can he like chuck his hands?
Yeah.
There's no arm
relatively far. I don't know.
I feel like if he picks his
I guess
distance,
if Crash gets his masks, but I mean, if it's Rayman 1 Rayman, it'd definitely be Crash, but
yeah,
Beyond
agreed.
that?
I think Rayman has too many abilities in his belt by now. I think a better matchup would be Rayman versus literally anyone from ARMS. That's a fight I'd pay to see.
Right. Right. Also, $2 more from Sonic and Mega Man 531 asking Midoriya from My Hero Academia versus Tanjiro from Demon Slayer. I have not watched either one, so I put this to you guys.
I've not watched Demon Slayer, so I kind of have to say Midoriya.
Well, I am the one wearing the Naruto shirt after all. I have seen both in their entirety, and Midoriya takes it like easily takes, especially if you're talking about manga Midoriya. Just take All Might and then give him some more powers, and that's basically Midoriya in the manga currently. So Tanjiro does not stand a chance. He would get wrecked.
All right. Well, speaking of anime, go ahead, Derek.
I gotta throw in a pun because I can't believe I didn't think of it right at the time. I gotta choose Rayman because he throws hands.
Ooh!
Wow, that's a good one. That's an Azran level pun, man. Well done. That is really good.
Well played.
Well, speaking of anime, we have another super chat from Blindman V2 for, I believe, $2. I've lost it here. Yes, $2. Thank you. Saying, quick plug for One Piece at a Time. Everyone watch. That is, quick plug for that. That is Derek's One Piece podcast with our very own Brandon Bovia, and you should definitely watch that. So thank you for the plug,
thank you for that plug. My first episode actually just hit 1,000 views on my personal channel, so that was a nice little milestone.
Nice. Hits Over Hype. This is a great name. Hits Over Hype with $4.99. Thank you. Saying, first time super chatter. What's good, y'all? Have you ever played the Shinron Kagura games? Good hack and slash plus over the top fan service equals hilarious fun. And I have not played them myself, but I did work on some of the art books for Udon back when I was Udon's senior editor. I did some of their
Shinron Kagura art
Ash. Books. Yes, they do.
Oh my God, I'm just joking.
Well, no, over the top fan service is one way to put it with those games. And yes, I did do those books, but I haven't played the games myself. Wow. What about you guys?
So I have a long history with this franchise, and that sounds worse than I intend for it to. But so no, early on in my career as a games journalist, I actually interviewed Kenichiro Takaki, the creator of the Shinron Kagura franchise, multiple times at E3. Like, it became a standing appointment we just had where we would catch up each year. And he and I have interacted on Twitter a few times. We've talked at length about like why he makes the games, his process for making the games. He is every bit the man you think would make those games. Like, just to not to get too blue before the post show, but I literally asked him, I was like, what's your process for like character design? Because, well, you know, your characters have a very specific design ethos to them, it would seem. And he's like, you know, I just love tits, man. I love them a lot. And so whenever I think of a new technology, whenever there's new hardware, I think, how can I make the best possible pair of boobs that I can make? And then I attach a character to them. And, you know, I had to ask, I followed this up and I was like, what is, like, you know, I was like, he was releasing his first Shinron Kagura game on PC at the time, which I think we all know the implications of that, right? And so I asked him, I was like, when you're developing the characters, like internally, because you're very clearly making them for your own enjoyment, like, do you make them naked? Like, do you render in like stuff that's not in the game? Because if you've ever played the games, like, you can get the characters butt ass naked, but like there's strategically placed like flashes of light, no matter time of day or whatever. They essentially have chest-based light sources, if you know what I mean. And so I had to ask him, I was like, well, when you're making the game, like, do you put nipples on the characters? Like, you know, are they, and then you take them away at the last minute? And he's like, I mean, no, but I'm also releasing it on PC because I know someone will do that. So he's very much like the guy you would think makes it for. One of the tweets that he actually replied
man appreciates the modding community.
Yeah, this man followed me on Twitter because Xseed sent me a special edition for one of the games, and he's not involved in the packaging, but like you open the soundtrack and it's a 2-disc soundtrack, and each side is a boob, and like the CD
course.
holders are right in the right place, if you know what I mean. And I tweeted out a picture of it, and I was like, I refuse to believe Takaki-san was not involved in this. And he's like, this is, and in English, he quote tweeted it, and he's like, this is very nice. And that was it. And then he followed me right after.
If I remember correctly, the Senran Kagura, the Udon art books for Senran Kagura, at least one of them has an interview with him. And I believe, from what I remember editing the interview, he just comes right out and says he's just horny as hell. He's just, I'm horny. This is why I make these games. And so that tracks.
And things.
That tracks.
Profit while doing it.
I respect the authenticity. I respect that he's just like,
exactly.
I mean, that is for exactly the reason
you can't kind of have to respect that the man is just so...
He's honest.
Yeah,
he's honest
about
it.
As Brandon Bovia says in the chat, king shit. Like, I absolutely...
I've never played it myself. I've seen demos at E3, and they always just... even the stands are just like, wow.
I will say, though, like there is shitloads of borderline uncomfortable fan service in these games, but at their core, they are surprisingly competent games. Like, they're really fun to play. But it's one of those where it's like somebody walks in and sees you playing it, and you're like, I swear to God, it's really fun to play. And they're like, sure.
It's like, you don't... Exactly. Yeah.
I have a friend, I won't name names, but I saw him talking about him playing a game of that type,
Arrow
only
game.
more so. But it was a Metroidvania as well. It just in that setup, and I'm like, wait, how does that work? And he just basically tells me, like, there's a censored option if you want to play, but I mean, I'm trying it, and honestly, the Metroidvania aspect is really good.
Instead of getting
is it like
armor,
one of those
you lose
weird
armor.
I was going to say, is it like one of those weird things, like in the third birthday?
I've not looked into it. I've not looked into it, Ash. I'll be honest.
I need to know
fair enough.
this is.
Sure, you haven't. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. Yeah.
No, but that's I'm guessing it's one of those weird things, like in the third birthday, where the character loses clothing the more damage they take, or something. But Sonic and Mega Man 531 is back again with $2 more. Thank you so much, saying that logo works worse than Street Fighter 6's logo. And I think you mean the Cuck Rooster logo, or the Cuckoo Rooster logo. And yeah, it does. I get more Resident Evil 6 logo vibes from the Cuckoo Rooster logo, just because it's just unintentionally hilarious.
Oh, God, yeah.
Whereas Street Fighter 6's logo just sucks, straight up. Lizard81288 with $5. Thank you, saying, I hope the bad team for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is the Spanish Inquisition, because nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. Yep, it says it in our title, the Pokézition.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lizard.
I love that.
That would be cool. That would be cool. Mr. Dwayne191 with some Game of the Year or Game Awards predictions. $4.99. Thank you. Saying, here's my prediction for the Game Awards nominees: Elden Ring, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Horizon Forbidden West, God of War, and Halo Infinite. Hopefully I'm correct. We'll see. Halo Infinite did technically come out last year, though, so that one might not make it.
I'm going to say Kirby probably isn't happening, just because as much as I want it to, Nintendo franchises face like a super uphill battle even being nominated. Especially if Nintendo stays true to their quote and we get Breath of the Wild 2 this year, there's no way Kirby gets the nod and Breath of the Wild 2 doesn't.
No, definitely.
Breath of the Wild 2 very likely would if it comes out this year.
Based on everything I've seen, Elden Ring is definitely the one absolute lock. There's a lot of good games coming out this year, so I want to say Horizon might stick with it, but
I hate to say it, but I'll call it right now. 9 months away from the Game Awards, Elden Ring's going to win. I mean, I hate to say it, but there's the Jeff Keighley bias factor. As much as they say he doesn't have input on it, the games he's personally excited about always get nominated. And the fact that this is a game that Jeff Keighley himself has played a big role in the marketing of, in terms of, revealing the first trailer. I mean, who can forget like the weird, like wide-eyed selfie he took because he had an Elden Ring trailer, right?
Right.
So I'm going to say that, not only does it get it's a lock for a nomination, but I would also say it's as close as you can get to a lock for the award as well, just because it's a game he personally was very excited about. And then on top of that, the media is praising the hell out of this game.
It is. It has been very hard to resist FOMO in this game. I don't have time to play it or anything like that, but seeing some of the clips and whatnot, it's like some of the people that like show their runs against fighting enemies and being badasses about it, where they have this swagger to them that comes across in the gameplay. It's like, damn it, that looks cool.
Yeah.
I
Well,
well, we've got a super chat. I'll wait until then to talk about it.
Yeah, I was actually going to skip the next super chat and come back to it because this other super chat from Darchi with $50, wow, thank you so much, does have to do with Elden Ring. So, Darchi says, I got to be honest with y'all, after putting in 120 hours into Elden Ring so far, Breath of the Wild 2 really needs to be something big. Have y'all got a chance or interest in trying it? And I'm going to be the turd in the punch bowl here.
Chance.
Yeah, I'm going to be the turd in the punch bowl here. I neither have interest nor a chance. I'm not against Elden Ring. I'm so happy people love it. I'm so happy it's everything they wanted it to be. But I'm just not a Soulsborne guy. I'm not really into the world design. I just don't really care. And I'm so into Horizon. I'm such a big Horizon fan that I have no FOMO because I'm currently knee-deep in Horizon Forbidden West, and I'm loving it. So nothing against Elden Ring. It's just personally not my thing. But yeah, that's how I feel about it.
It says something to me when I saw both Arlo and She Says talking about how they're having difficulty working because the game is just in their head that much.
Yeah.
And these are two of the hardest working guys I know. So
I can say personally, I picked up Elden Ring because I succumbed to FOMO and I was like, okay, I want to play this. And I enjoy it. Like I haven't played a ton of it. I'm like 3 hours in, not a lot. Because obviously lots of things happen. We've got other stuff to do. And it's definitely not quite to the level that it would pull me away from my other responsibilities. But every time I play it, I have a good time. And I haven't yet hit like that wall where I get frustrated and feel like I have to stop. In fact, I got my horse, which is early on. Mm-hmm. And I was like, but they delivered it like, I'm not used to Souls games having like cutscenes and dialogue within them, and I also really, really dig the fact that there's a samurai class and that, you can actually like do like katana and shield, or you can do like two-handed katana strikes to improve the strength of your attacks. It feels like they've tuned the difficulty lower for Elden Ring so that it's a bit more accessible for folks. And I'm all about that because it's right at the border of feeling super challenging versus challenging to the point of frustration. And I think,
it's right. I think the other thing that will probably help you, Steve, from everything I hear, is that if you hit a wall, just come back later.
Yeah,
you can go
just
elsewhere.
Go level up and summon.
Not even just level up. Go explore somewhere else and,
exactly.
do that.
I did exactly that because I ran into like a very powerful enemy early on and I was like, I'm going around that instead of through it. And so I ended up finding some lower level enemies and smoking them instead and then getting my horse. And I'm like, well, there's a hallway down there. I'm going to go through that when I come back to the game. I definitely think about it. It's occupying a special place in my brain palace right now. Like I need to get back to it and try it. But then there's a Kirby demo and I'm like, I love Kirby so much. But to get back on track, first off, thank you, Darchi, $50, super, super generous.
Seriously.
But I feel like Elden Ring versus Breath of the Wild 2 is almost an unfair comparison because, and of course, I'm basing this off of Breath of the Wild 1. They're very, very different kinds of games, like extremely different in nature. And I don't think that one necessarily scratches the itch created by the other. So I think if you're really into Soulsborne games, obviously Breath of the Wild 2 is not going to sate your desire to play Elden Ring. And similarly, I think if you're very into Breath of the Wild style of open world games, Elden Ring is not really going to satisfy that desire to play a Zelda style open world game. So I think the two can coexist, but I will say that assuming that they both end up in contention for Game of the Year in 2022, I think the popular mainstream games media will probably side with Elden Ring, which it kind of highlights. I talked about this, 2 Game Awards ago on this channel. How Game of the Year is inherently just a flawed idea because games are so varied and different. There's so many subgenres and things that you can never say hands down, this is the best game that came out this year because it's so subjective.
Yeah. Personal choice. That's why we don't come up to an agreement. It's just because we all play something different as well. We don't have time to play every game.
Yeah.
Well, and year after year, too, people like to talk about how certain movies are Oscar bait. Certain games are Game Awards bait. Nintendo games typically don't perform as well at the Game Awards. That's not always true. Obviously, Metroid Dread did really well last year. But typically, I think, and this is kind of what you were saying, Steve, I think you can kind of get a feel for what kind of games are going to excel at the Game Awards and award shows like these. And I agree. I think Breath of the Wild 2 is the only thing that could possibly challenge Elden Ring, depending on how it turns out, if it does come out this year. But I do think Elden Ring is probably the easy lock for the winner, just because of the connection to Jeff Keighley. And it feels, as you said, that the gaming media is probably going to side with that. But
yeah.
We'll see. We don't know. We won't know until we know more about Breath of the Wild 2 and if it's even coming out this year. So one thing I will say, though, is I feel so damn bad for Guerrilla Games because Horizon Zero Dawn came out right before Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And then Horizon Forbidden West comes out right before Elden Ring, and it's just completely overshadowed in both cases. I feel so bad for them.
I will say that Forbidden West, I don't think it necessarily suffers the same fate as Zero Dawn because I think there's still I think the overlap between people that like Zelda and people that like Horizon is way closer than most people think, but I think there's a much wider gap between folks that like Elden Ring and folks that play Forbidden West. I think that for some
I think you're right.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not like a game of the same type releasing at the same time, whereas this is, I mean, a game that undeniably, for whatever, for reasons, has more hype behind it and more marketing dollars in a weird way. Whereas Forbidden West, I mean, I think it's a fantastic game. For me, it's my game of the year so far.
I think the big thing is the sales are there for both the original and this one. The conversation isn't there. I think
I
that's
meant the discourse.
Yeah,
I was talking about the discourse. It's
that's what they're losing
talking
out
about
on.
Horizon immediately.
I got like, check out these vistas. Oh my gosh, it looks so beautiful. But nobody wants to spoil the story. Yeah. And hey, I appreciate that.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I just think personally it is weird. It speaks to like the kind of weird news cycle that we live in because everybody that played Horizon Forbidden West finished it like 3 weeks ago. So for us, it's been almost a month since we beat the game. Whereas, Elden Ring, people are playing it now. And from what I understand, the review timetable on that was way tighter. And maybe that was on purpose.
Yeah.
Could be.
Well, I will go ahead and read out the rest of the super chats at the end of the show, but we should move on to a little bit more. We did have one more thing in our thumb that we should probably talk about quickly, and that is the fact that the Switch has turned, speaking of Breath of the Wild, actually, the Switch has now turned 5 years old. And we won't spend too much time on that here because we do actually have a discussion going up right here on the channel tomorrow where we talk about it. But Steve, you didn't get to be part of that discussion. And so I want to get some of your quick thoughts just on how you're feeling about 5 years of Switch.
Yeah. So
can you believe how fast the time flies, man?
One, it's weird for me because like I was looking in my Facebook memories, which is how I track too many things. 3 weeks ago, and I was like, oh yeah, I got my Switch 5 years ago in February, right? So I was one of the lucky few that had like the pre-launch experience with the Switch, which was very weird. Like there was no eShop. Like my Switch came like the Wii U came for people. Like it came without most of the stuff enabled. So for me, the Switch was a Breath of the Wild and 1-2 Switch machine for a long time. But there's nothing like the launch of a new Nintendo console. Like Sony with their PS5 and Microsoft with their Xbox, like they're exciting times, but Nintendo somehow just captures this magic. Even when the console is not good, the hype up until you get it is like, it's just chef's kiss. Like it's the perfect, like, Apple can't do it. Microsoft can't do it. Sony can't do it. Nintendo just has this special, like, holy shit, I'm getting a brand new Nintendo thing. And when the Switch came out, I would say that was one of the first times that the actual console lived up to the pre-release hype. Like when I held the Switch in my hands, like I actually had my own. I was like, this thing is so small and it plays Mario Kart. Yeah. What the hell?
Agreed.
The very first time you start up Breath of the Wild and you see this and you're like, this is on a portable system. Like
on a portable. Yeah.
It's one of those things that even 5 years in, that hasn't fully worn off for me yet. Like I still play games and I'm like, how is this happening? Like, I look at Kirby even and I'm like, sure, like the stuff in the background is like 5 FPS. It's a little distracting, but it's also, I can, if I have big jeans, put this thing in my pocket. Like, it is like, it's no longer like, hey, I want to bring my Nintendo games to my friend's house. Let me pack a backpack full of shit. Like, and that is something that I don't know that you can undervalue it. Like, I don't know that there's a way to, you can't downplay the convenience that Nintendo has created. Like, we now have what we've wanted all along, which is console quality Nintendo games wherever the hell we want them. And
yeah, exactly.
I just
and that hasn't worn off for me either.
Yeah, I don't know that Nintendo finds a way out of this. I find, in a weird way, they've created a problem for themselves in that I don't want something other than the Switch form factor now.
It would be a step. It would feel like a step backward if they took that away, that portable console.
They also need to
element.
because people have gone digital far more with this machine than any other. They need to make backwards compatibility needs to be a major focus for the next system.
Agreed. One of my favorite Switch launch memories that I didn't actually talk about in the discussion that I'll just touch on here quickly is that I got to have that Nintendo Switch commercial moment right after the launch because I took a trip to Japan right after the Switch came out. So I was that guy playing Breath of the Wild in tabletop mode with people. I was sat next to a kid and his dad, and the kid was just entranced, and he kept talking to his dad. He's like, "Oh, that's the new Nintendo, like I wanted." And people kept asking, like, "Is that the new Nintendo?" It was 100% the commercial thing, and it was pretty cool. But yeah, Steve, I agree with you. 5 years on, despite the tech being aged when it came out, 5 years on, the luster still hasn't worn off to me because of that portable element, and you can play games that look as good as Mario Kart 8 in a portable fashion. So I completely agree with you, man. And happy 5th birthday, Switch.
Yeah.
Love this thing.
Now, please come out with a new one, please.
Yes. Just a couple of more quick news headlines before we move on to our Patron topics. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things. You were mentioning accessibility earlier, Steve, when talking about Elden Ring, and sign language support has now come to Forza Horizon 5. And that's awesome.
Nice.
I just think that's the coolest damn thing. Forza Horizon 5 is already an amazing game, and it just got a little better.
A weird question about that, though. Like, as a technical person, Forza, as you know, says your name or whatever name you choose very often. Yeah. So do they have like a video clip of every name? Because there's like 300 names. That's a good
question.
They probably do.
I wonder if they just
good question.
Unless they just go in the generic player.
Or maybe, player or you. Or, that's true because there are like 300 different nicknames or something that you can be called. Of course, I chose X. It's the only game that calls me X, and it's awesome.
I chose Steve. I was just like, that's kind of cool that they could be like, hey, Steve. I did it for my daughter, too, and it was like, hey, Avery. And she was like, what?
Oh, cool. They have Ashton, but not Ash, I think. And when I saw that they had X, I'm like, well, obviously, I want this game to call me X.
Yeah, you're Racer X. Why wouldn't you want?
No,
why you want
not that Racer X, Mega Man X, man. Come
on. Oh, come on. You know it's a cooler X. Speaking of sign language, I saw on Twitter today. I didn't know this. So you know the emoji where they're like, or like, the whole like thinking thing. Yeah, that face. Thank you, Steve. Apparently, in sign language, that means lesbian.
What?
Did not know that.
So whenever somebody sends that emoji, you're just saying lesbian to each other. Technically,
you learn something new every day. The more you know.
It's like, did not know that.
Let's see. Also, this just happened right before we went live with this episode, but Jinkies, Velma from Scooby-Doo, is the newest character to join the Multiverses roster, just further solidifying this as the weirdest fighting game roster ever. We got Shaggy, and now we got Velma. Cool. Who knew? That's happening.
Velma's awesome.
I'm down.
That means
she's always been my favorite Scooby-Doo
lesbians.
character.
She was canonically, according to the creator, she was a lesbian in the Mystery Inc.
Oh, okay.
Show.
Well, she's always been my favorite of the Scooby-Doo crew. So
she was the smart one.
Yeah, exactly. Also, the House of the Dead remake got a new trailer today, and I know it's Forever Entertainment, but I watched it, and it actually is looking a little promising. It looks good, right? So it's either
just like, what happened? What happened here with these guys? Like
Yeah, and it still has that cheesy voice acting, which is so important. And it's either coming out April 4th or April 7th, depending on whether you believe the trailer or the video description for the trailer. But it's one of those days, and it's looking better than I was expecting with Forever Entertainment. So that's awesome. And the last thing I'll say is just a quick PSA. There are Sonic 2 movie ending spoilers floating around out there. So
I was not aware of this.
I want to know and I don't want to know.
I know, right? Yeah. I think it comes from the description on like a Sonic 2 movie-related toy, but I didn't look into it because I don't want to know. So just be safe, be spoiler safe if you care about that. There are ending spoilers out there in the internet. But with that said, we do have patron topics to discuss as well. We always end the show by discussing topics and answering questions suggested to us by our patrons at the producer tier and above. So, which of you would like to go first?
Mine's a downer, so I'll go first.
Okay, fair enough.
So mine comes from Joseph Bayer. Thank you very much for the question. It says, what are some of your favorite multiplayer game memories? And I will go with one. I think I've told an abridged version of this story before. But I was very much on the Dreamcast hype train in the late 90s, at the turn of the millennium. So 2000, 2001, I played over 1,500 hours of Phantasy Star Online. And I made friends, many friends. But the nature of the internet 21 years ago was that it was all kind of segmented into smaller communities. And there wasn't like, there was no Twitter, there was no Facebook, there was no real place to like gather groups of friends. So we all kind of just knew each other through this one game. And that would be where we'd talk, where we'd hang out, and I met a lot of people there. I talked about life with them. I talked about things I was going through. Like I made what I felt were real friends on that game. But there was no we didn't exchange contact information outside of the game. It just became kind of an unspoken rule that this is where we hung out and talked to each other. And Sega announced, of course, that the game was closing. And we decided that this was going to be like the last time we spoke to each other. We were going to let our friendship die with the game, the whole group of us. And
weird.
So we took turns playing through like the entirety of the game over the course of one day. So like we played through all of the areas, all of the sections. And I saved my closest friends for last, like the people that I had shared the most intimate details of my life with. And I remember sitting on the floor of my room. We had beaten Dark Falls, and there were just seconds left of this game's existence. And I was bawling, like just crying my eyes out, like realizing that this was the last time I was going to talk to some of these people ever again. And like when the server like blinked off, we were all just sitting there like telling each other how much we loved each other and how we try to find each other. It was a stupid thing to do, to just not like, hey, what's your aim info? But like,
yeah, exactly. AIM was the thing.
Yeah, but we were
I just want to shake you.
And I remember just sitting there heartbroken. Like eventually I found some of these people again and like reconnected with them years later. But it's like that moment, I just remember like feeling my heart was so heavy thinking about the fact that I'd been through so much in this world with these people and that they kind of had a window into my life and mine into theirs, that I was just crushed that Sega decided to turn off, the servers for the game. And I don't think that I'll ever it's like bittersweet for me because I had such good memories in that game and I spent so much time like getting to play with people. But it was also like a sad moment at the same time. I'm very grateful for the time I spent there, and it's kind of in a weird way one of my favorite memories at this point, just because of how emotionally impactful that game ended up being.
Sure.
But yeah, anyway, it's Friday. Hi.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I can turn the mood around because I was thinking I could either talk about my friend who was amazing at Halo, and that was fun. He would do 1v5 and still beat us.
Wow.
Like he was on a national level of Halo, like got to see like Halo 2 early because he won a tournament and stuff like that. It's nuts. But instead I'll go for a different game. I really enjoyed Uncharted 2. It was a good time.
Nice.
I actually tried out the multiplayer in that game. Had a lot of fun. Did pretty well. However, you two know my screen name on PlayStation.
Yes.
And I don't use voice chat. I don't use voice chat, but other people were at the time having a good time, and I was on the team. And for those who don't know, and I will I got to change it at some point. I just don't want to lose it. They like warned of losing certain data. I was like, I don't want to lose anything just because you never know. my screen name was Virgin Wolf because they took it from Virginia. Took it from Virginia Wolf for whatever reason.
I never
in
tire
college.
of that. I will say that
Me
every
neither.
time. So just to interject here real quick, when you get a review code from Sony, you have to give them the PSN ID of the person that's playing the game. And I have had to send them Derek's ID exactly twice. And I'm like, and every time in parentheses, I put, not a joke, not kidding.
Yeah. It's so good.
So
You just can't make that up.
So there's that. There's that. I have that name. And I'm doing really well. I am top of the team, but I'm not on voice chat. Other guys on my team are, and they are literally screaming through the mics because I'm doing so well. Yeah, go Virgin! Hell yeah, Virgin! Dude, Virgin is a shorthand. I'm like, oh, I've made a mistake.
Oh, that's amazing.
Let's go, Virgin.
That's so good. I don't have any online gaming memories really like that, but in kind of a similar vein, and I used to be part of a message board based club on AOL. That's how far back this goes on America Online, called wait for it, Final Fantasy Club X, which is just the most 90s thing. It's so stupid, but I met a lot of people through that community that I eventually lost touch with. So that's kind of my version of that. But I do have one story that I just love, and this happened a few years ago with one of my best friends, Aaron Cooper. This was when we met, actually, and we were all staying in a big house. I was staying with the Wired Productions crew. They're an indie game developer, publisher. And we were all staying in a big Airbnb together. And one of the nights we were all there, we were partying, and it was me, my buddy Aaron, who is a former TNT guest, by the way, and the Nintendo power couple, Felia and Danny, just two of the kindest people you'll ever meet. And so we were all there, and we ended up wearing Nintendo onesies. There was Mario. I think I was wearing Yoshi. There was a Mario onesie, Luigi, and DK. And we were basically in Nintendo onesies playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And if you don't know the rules of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, essentially you have to pound a beer. You have to finish a beer by the end of a race. But you can't drink and drive. Who drinks and drives? Nobody drinks and drives. So you have to pull over or stop if you're going to drink the beer. So what do? Do you pound it at the beginning and then try to catch up? Do you try to get ahead of everybody, then stop before the finish line and pound it at the end? That's up to you. But basically, we all just got absolutely tanked in our Nintendo onesies playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But at some point, we ran out of libations, so we had to call a lift to go out to a local, grocery store to pick up more beer. And this poor Lyft driver, I don't know, he must not have known what he got himself into. We were perfectly nice. We weren't loud or boisterous, but we were in our Nintendo onesies. And so this guy picked us up and he's like, what have I stepped into? And it was very awkward silence. Yeah, it was a very awkward silence in the car. That's for sure. But we gave him a big tip and then our night continued. But yeah, so that's what happened with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Also, another one of my best friends, Jansen, is in our chat right now, in our live audience chat, saying that I let my friendship with him end over some video game. I don't know what he's talking about. He's still one of my best friends. He's the one who moved to Florida. I'm still here in LA. He moved to Florida. Man, what are you talking about? I love
probably told him if you beat him at Smash, he had to be exiled to Florida. I mean,
maybe that's what it is. That could be what it is.
Play for your freedom.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that topic, Joseph. Derek, you want to go next, man?
Sure. Mine is Pat Pending, who asks, who has the hairiest chest of GVG? No, kidding. That's what they actually say. Actual suggestion, what are some of the game series that you own either physically or digitally that you either have not or have hardly played? In my case, as an example, I own a lot of Assassin's Creed games, but have never played any of them. I also own a lot of SMT, despite not really having the time to play. Let's see those backlogs. And this one called to me because I have one for you. That because at first I thought Assassin's Creed, but you know what? I actually got through most of the Assassin's Creed that I own, so I've not bought more, so that helps a lot. But mine, I have Yakuza 0 through 5 and 7, since I got that one code. So
that's a good one.
I have all of Yakuza. Except for 6. I've never played Yakuza, so
nice.
There you go.
Fair enough.
I can say that thanks to Kate in our executive producer squad, I own every single Ace Attorney game. She bought me the one of the collections on Steam, and I filled out the collection with the rest of them, and I have not even started a single one of them. They are all staring at me, telling me,
"Yep,
I know you know I'm good. You should play me." And I'm like, "Yeah, but like I could just order like a Whopper and watch Netflix." So
yeah,
I apologize. Kate, I will play them eventually. I don't know what it is. Like I never go, now's the time to look at my backlog. I think backlogs are so depressing that I just ignore them.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have a good answer for this. I have a couple of like sort of answers. I have a couple of Grand Theft Auto games that I haven't come anywhere close to completing. I probably have 3 GTA games, and I've barely played any of them except for 4, which ironically is considered usually the worst one. I have a couple of Legend of Heroes games, which I will probably never, ever get through because they are so dense and so long. But I don't really have a bunch of like long-running franchises that I haven't played. Like I have Yakuza Like a Dragon, and I played most of that, but I don't have 0 through 6. So I'm sorry to say I don't really think I have a great answer for this, but there are a couple answers for you, kinda. I have some Resident Evil games, and I played some of most of them. I guess that's counts as an answer. But yeah, sorry to say that these days I don't really have much time to focus on my backlog anyway, because I'm just trying to keep up with the games that are coming out that I want to play. So, I'm playing Forbidden West, and then Kirby's going to come out soon. And yeah, so yeah, sorry to say I don't really have a great answer for this, but yeah, thank you for the topic, Pat. And all right,
Jansen, now I see why Ash banished you to Florida. I've never played more than 10 minutes of Chrono Trigger. I hated it. I thought you were cool.
He deserves it.
I thought you were cool.
He deserves it for that. That's why you were banished to Florida, man. Yeah. Okay, so my topic this week comes from Moon Knight. Thank you so much, Moon Knight. And it's a bit of a long one, so bear with me. Has any game or movie impacted your life so much that no matter what people say, you love it to the end? I was having a hard time during college. My first semester, I was failing a maths class, even though I was really good during high school, and that's why I entered an IT career. Come November, I was feeling so depressed, but then a trailer changed my mind somehow. Don't know if it was the song or the characters, but something clicked inside and made me want to keep going. That movie was Big Hero 6, and the trailer with Greek Fire's Top of the World somehow made me motivated to pass the class, and in the end, I even got an A as the final grade. Pokemon Sun, for example, helped me keep going when in mid-career I had a really awful database teacher who legit never showed up and expected us to work all weekend just to give him homeworks or exams. Pokemon Sun's cheery vibe and music and color just motivated me somehow, despite some not liking it or thinking it wasn't enough for Pokemon to change. So thank you for that topic, Moon Knight, and I'm gonna fudge it a little bit. You said game or movie.
I need to interrupt real quick. I have something going on with my kids. I'll be right back.
No worries, man. Okay, so I'm going to fudge this a little bit. You said game or movie, but I'm going to say a TV show. And actually, my buddy Jansen in the chat probably knows where I'm going with this. Despite some of the things they did wrong in later seasons and some of the backlash against the finale, I was and remain a huge fan of Lost. I lived and breathed Lost during its whole entire run. And Jansen was actually the one who got me into Lost. And it became like a ritual for me and my wife, my girlfriend at the time, and my family. Like we would get together every week to watch the new episode of Lost. And it was such a special part of my life that I look back upon fondly. And it was just, we were into all the fan theories. We would read up on like fan sites and find out insider information about upcoming episodes. And we were just utterly all obsessed with Lost. And the finale was super divisive. A lot of people hated it. I happen to be on the side of people who loved it. But despite all the things it did wrong, and it did a lot wrong storytelling wise, I will remain a fan and defend that show to my dying breath. It just brings me back to one of my favorite times in my life, and just a really fond memory I have of something that I associated with a TV show that my family and my wife and I all really got into for 6 years. It ran for 6 years, 6 seasons.
Yeah.
So what about you, Derek?
Apparently I need to just stay away from shows that are really good, really serialized, and then just have crap finales that I keep up with week to week. Because it happened to me with Lost, and it happened to me with freaking Game of Thrones. Like jeez, it's
Okay.
why do they have such bad endings? It's awful.
Yeah, I watched the ending of Game of Thrones with a buddy at the time who was really into it, and I had never seen other than maybe the first episode of Game of Thrones, and I knew what Jon Snow was going to do before he knew it. I'm like, I haven't even watched this show, and I know where this is going. It was terrible.
I know there's good shows out there. I want to go watch them. I just haven't had a chance to do that. But the ones I got really into that I wanted to keep going with it, see it week to week. Nope, missed it. And they just end poorly. I don't know why. It's very unfortunate. But
too bad.
I will say, there is to answer this to Moon Knight's question, the game that kind of just made me happy each time I played it. Like it actually had an active mood shift. Every time I could be having a rough day, I just not feeling great, or whatever else was going on, and then I'd sit down and play this game, and I'd just be like immediately in a happy mood, which is kind of funny considering some of the content in the game. But it just immediately I was just so happy to be in that world and so involved in it. And that's Dragon Quest 11. I don't know why. It just it's like there are some truly depressing things in that game. It will make you cry for the most part, but it's just so pure, I guess is the best way to put it. It just made me feel good each time I played it. I don't know. It just made me happy each time I touched it. And
I hear that.
I just, that was my thing. That was definitely my thing. I think that's definitely the big one for me. I'm trying to think of others. There's others, of course, that you can just play and be immediately put into a good mood. But I find Dragon Quest really has that that sense to it. Because even the original Dragon Quest, I can just chill with. But 11 is definitely one that just made me happy.
DQ11, that's a great example. That is a game that brought me right back to the golden age of JRPGs and just reminded me of games like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI and all just games from that era. And I love it. I mean, I've talked a lot about how much I adore DQ11, and it definitely brought me back to a simpler, kinder time in my life, right? When we were, younger, less responsibilities. And I can't say enough amazing things about that game. But it looks like Steve is back. So I'm glad we were able to keep talking about this until you can give your thoughts on this topic.
Yeah, real quick for those of you asking in the chat, I personally am fine. My children were just having a squabble that I had to resolve. Something about siblings and playing video games together. Anyway.
I feel that.
Yeah, so my... sorry about that. Okay, there we go. Sorry. I thought somebody was texting me about something else. So my favorite, something that takes me back that I won't hear any complaints about or I'll overlook the flaws in, is definitely, broadly N64 era first party games. I know that there's lots of problems and lots of things that you could easily nitpick, but I will hear no complaints about Super Mario 64 specifically. I don't know what it is. I think that it came along at just the right time in my life to where I had the perfect combination of free time and adoration for Nintendo. I've played through Mario 64 to 120 stars probably 7 times in my life at this point.
My God.
Yeah.
I've put in an absurd number of hours into that game. And I know that there's I can literally do most levels, most stars even, by pure muscle memory at this point.
Same. Yeah.
And I can tell you that the camera system blows, that the frame rate is pretty terrible in some spots. It hasn't aged well visually. I understand that there are lots and lots and lots of issues with Mario 64, but to me, somehow it is perfect. It exists outside of the critical thinking part of my brain. And I think it's just because,
wonderful game still.
I spent so many hours with this game. I loved it so intensely as a kid because, again, when you're a kid, you have whatever games your parents can afford to get you. But this was the very first video game I bought for myself. I saved up and I bought Mario 64. And nice. I think that was it for me. It was also the very first Mario game I got right when it came out. I bought that game at launch, and So I got to be part of like all the other kids for once that had, the new thing with the new Mario game. And I was like, oh, me too. It's so great. I found Yoshi. What about you? And so I think that kind of cemented it into this special place in my memory. And I could just never like, I know as a games critic, there are things, plentiful things that are wrong with the game and were wrong with it, in 1996, 7, whenever it came out. But it's just that one game that I could never be objectively critical of.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Mario 64, despite the elements that haven't aged well, I still think is just such an incredible game, especially for when it came out. I mean, it really legitimized 3D gaming in a way that no other game did at the time. So, no, I totally agree.
Everybody else was still trying to figure it out, and then Mario 64 came out. I was like, oh, that's how we do it.
Oh, yeah, and everything in games media at that point is this the Mario 64 killer? Sonic Adventure, Blasto.
Yeah. Blasto.
Yeah, anything that came out, Spyro, whatever.
Yeah.
Mario 64 and was Moon Knight, the high watermark for gaming in general at the time.
Yeah. Moon Knight, thank you for the topic. And I guess since I kind of fudged it to begin with, I will say that in terms of video games, Final Fantasy VI impacted my life tremendously because that is the game that kickstarted my lifelong obsession with video game music. And so I will love and adore Final Fantasy VI to the end of my days, no matter what. But yeah, thank you so much, Moon Knight. And thank you to all of our patrons who submitted topics. As always, we're sorry we can't get to everyone. We can only pick one per week each, but we really appreciate you submitting them. And we're looking forward to the next round of topics. With that said, we are almost at the end of today's episode, but we do have a few more super chats, which I'm going to just rapid fire through. So here we go. Let's see. Hey, it's Dingo with $5. Thank you so much. Saying Fuecoco will be the ox in the zodiac because male and female crocodiles are called bulls and cows. Look it up. I'll take your word for it. Hey, it's Dingo. Thank you.
I get the whole ox thing, but I don't think they've ever gone from like a reptile to a mammal, right?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so. So I'll your knowledge about the Zodiac, I'll take your word for, but I'm with Steve. I'm not sure if that's what's going to end up happening with Fuecoco, but we'll see. Speaking of Pokemon, we have another super chat from Lizard81288 with $5. Thank you so much, saying, I can't tell if Quaxley is wearing a hat or if that is its hair. Did Game Freak just give us a JoJo reference? I hope its final form is just a buff duck. I can get behind that, just a buff duck. That would be pretty cool. It's hard to tell.
I've seen artwork of Quaxley as
Donald Duck.
No, is it? I'm blanking. Is it Jotaro? Is it Jotaro?
It's not Joseph Joestar, is it?
No, it's the fourth. Josuke. Jotaro was JoJo 3.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I'm not
Vedron in our live audience. Vedron in our live audience chat says Conquista Duck. That's so good. That is so good.
There's so many good pun names for the duck because I put out Duccaneer. I love Duccaneer.
Nice.
Oh, that's so good.
That is good.
All right, Steve, we have a question for you. Tim Rattray with $5. Thank you. Saying, Steve, who's on your King of Fighters 15 team? Mine is Terry, Athena, and Mai, though I'm starting to love Isla, and she's gunning for my spot.
So we have a pretty similar team, Tim.
Nice.
Anyway, I use Terry, Ryo Sakazaki, and Mai. Though Mai's placeholder for when Rock Howard gets released, because I have major love for Mark of the Wolves, and I mean, and just Ryo Sakazaki takes me back to like the dream bout from Fatal Fury, where he was like the hidden character. I always loved that crossover, so I put Terry and Ryo together whenever I can. Also, Ryo is basically Ryu, so he's pretty easy to control.
Nice.
Right. Nice. I got to play more KOF 15. I really like the demo. I'd like to dig into that game a little bit more. Next is $2 from Mwape Mulinga. Thank you. I got to ask, did anyone see the new Pokemon opening? I did.
I did watch it, and
Nice.
It goes hard. They're bringing in all kinds of stuff from past seasons.
Really?
Ash has a pretty badass moment where they show him tossing out a bunch of his Pokeballs, and he has
cool.
the Mega Ring from Gen 6, the Z Move Ring from Gen 7, and then the Dynamax on both arms. So
That's
we just
cool.
loaded up with Pokeballs ready to use any of the methods. It's like, okay,
I gotta watch this tonight.
I mean, Ash has been kind of badass ever since X and Y, but they're really good.
Badass. It's me. Yeah.
Sure.
No, for sure. No, sorry, Derek. No, but yeah, I got to watch that. That sounds really cool. Well, badass. Like
Song
you said.
too.
Yeah, okay. I got to watch that tonight. Next is Becca Levels Up with $4.99. Thank you so much. Saying, I have so many friends in World of Warcraft that I wish I would have known outside of the game. Damn it, Steve, for making me cry, lol.
I'm sorry.
Steve, you made her cry.
Game feels.
Yep. And then finally, to close us out for the day, we have $5 from Wolverale12. I don't recognize that name. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
saying, hey guys, sorry I haven't been around for the streams. Also, I think I like all of the starters, unlike recent gens, but I'm with Ash on Team Sprigatito. Hell yeah, Wolverale.
Tell me you smoke pot without telling me you
forever.
smoke pot.
All right. Well, that does bring us to the end of episode 4 of the GVG cast. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you've had a great time hanging out with us. We've had a great time hanging out with you. As always, we do have to give a special thanks to all of our patrons at
Hold on. Apologies. Did we run our second ad?
Oh, no.
We didn't. We still have to do that. My
Hi,
bad.
Straight Lace. I didn't forget you. Hold on.
Right.
We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Yes.
Welcome to my channel. My name is Straight-Lace, and I make content, and sometimes I've got Monster Hunter.
As they say in England.
Ow! I've got Pokemon. I'm gonna do something really stupid. I've got game design analysis. Fast and unthought out decisions can have some nasty consequences down the line. And I've also got Dungeons and Dragons. I like how half the party is cultured and they're like, it's just food, and the other half is, what is this magic? So feel free to stop by, say hi, learn a little, and laugh a little.
And we're back.
Yes, thank you so much, Straight Lace. And sorry for the later, playing your video later in the episode than usual, but we love you and appreciate you, and thank you for everything you've done for us in the channel. And with that said, we are now at the end of episode 4 of the GVG cast. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, we do have to give a special thank you to all of our patrons at the producer tier and above for helping to make this show happen and everything we do happen, because without you, we couldn't. So thank you so much. But as always, we also have to give an extra special thank you to all of our patrons at the executive producer tier and above. And those fine, amazing, wonderful, incredible folks include Brandon Bovia, Cutie Caitlin, Fangs, Dan and Twistle, Z Patty, Hyrule Hermit, Sky Blue Flames, Eastman23, Adam O'Sullivan, Richard Herrera, Logan Daniel, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Waffle King, Beard J373, Critter XD, Kitty Kong Facts, Angel Martinez, Diogo RP, Joshua Hunter, Benny Yao, Sapphire, Azran127, Black King, Pagrima, Geller, Joseph Rutkin, Titus Malvolio, Geeky Griffin, Lucky Wonderfish, Kyle, Top Dog 23100, Young Ben Kenobi, Doug Shomix, Andrew Medeiros, Aurum, Becca, Rocks the Cat, Killamox, Eddie B, Kai Ed, Kit Fisto, Kenneth Lee Stingle, Jessica Toad, Deaneth, Sci-Fi Lullabies, Michael McCaw, Niminator, Matthew Wong, Goron Amber, Straight Lace, Justin Matthews, Hoobie, Too Much Spaghetti, Mega Conrad, Ascaron 809, Ryaner, Captain Finlandia, Nathan Steele, Spicy Pand Otter, The Game Orb, Dano the Artist, Super Gamer Dude 101, Grantles, Ravelox, Synchro Lord, Rosa Pardo Bowling.
Hi, Mom. My actual mom. Hello to my actual biological mom.
Kane Woolley, Skull Kid Tiger, AJB Cool, Darksteel01, Jason Uloa, Jaden Buck, Phantom Project, Cystic Warrior 29, DJ Jurassic, Super Dank Awesome Unicorn Guy, Dinner Sonic, Darik, Jeff Ed, Blaystar 25, Stag Nasty, Mumbling Yeti, Cameron Sharp, Screamo Shaman, Mason Riley, Keel, Willow Pingree, Santi the Person, Brendan Hesse, Hustlebun, Noah Fitterer, Calvin Atkinson, Ryan's Fault, Brainchild, Pat Pending, Jim Wakeland, Lauren Bond, Sridhar Ayala, and last but certainly not least, Gavin Twaddle. Wow, that list just gets longer every time I read it, it feels like. Thank you so much, everybody, for your incredible generosity. If you want to find out more about how you can get on that list, as well as take advantage of all the other perks we offer our patrons, head on over to patreon.com/gvgaming, and you can check us out over there. We'd really appreciate it. But even if you can't, and you just like and follow here or subscribe to us here on YouTube, that would mean the world to us. But that's it for us today. We're going to go to our patron-exclusive post show. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great weekend, and good night, and good vibes. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you later.